Just get rid of that mentions.
I did.
You were
I
much
did.
better off.
Well, they took out. No, I did. I looked at it for 1 second to see how much they hated me, and it was great to see the hatred.
Yeah,
because I don't watch it otherwise.
But back to your point, Facebook trying to actually eliminate that as much as
well, they don't. Facebook wants to be the kinder.
However, what will be interesting to see, and Julia brought this up, Carl, is how it will apply to other so-called leaders, and what the
so-called.
Well, yeah, so-called.
That's a little judgmental.
Well, I don't know how you judge who. How are they going to judge?
Was the president not a leader?
No, he was. I'm saying
was he
you can be a leader of a political party, but not necessarily in control of the government.
Gotcha.
For example,
I'm glad you clarified that.
Is that also what they're talking about, Carl? I mean, I'm sure we'll hear a lot more in terms of getting a sense for the ruling, but it will be interesting to see how they, after this, make decisions about banning certain people from the platform.
Well, how many people incited a riot, David? It's like not the anarchist who threw the flyers out of the second floor window, calling for a resurrection against Woodrow Wilson, which was the original case. The original case that was like what President Trump did.
Got it.
You're a proud boy in the end.
Yeah. Excuse me?
Sorry, I didn't mean that.
What?
I didn't mean that.
Okay. You didn't mean it. Carl, sometimes we're better off getting to you.
Journal's got a big piece this morning, guys, about the arcane rules that get users kicked off all the time, and obviously don't have a sense of coherence, which is worth a read given the importance of this decision today. Julia Borson's got a little bit more context around what just broke a few moments ago. JB?
Yeah, Carl, earlier I mentioned that they said it was inappropriate for Facebook to make this an indefinite suspension. But what I want to make very clear here is the board pushed it back to Facebook and is giving Facebook 6 months to determine its final decision on Trump's account status. So it's important to note here that a lot of this is being pushed back to Facebook, and that Facebook now has to decide if this is going to be a permanent penalty or not. So there's another 6-month period, which is beginning now. So they say that Facebook must re-examine the arbitrary penalty. And then this penalty must be based on the gravity of the violation. So now the oversight board is asking Facebook to make new rules based on the violations that President Trump had earlier this year. And they say that if Facebook decides to restore Trump's accounts, then the company should apply its rules to that decision. So basically saying it is possible for Facebook to choose to restore the president's accounts in 6 months, but then they have to make this new set of rules to explain that. And just to address a question that David just brought up here is about whether or not this is going to have big implications on political leaders. The board said it's not always useful to draw a firm distinction between political leaders and other influential users, saying that other users with large audiences can also contribute serious risks of harm. So I think they're going to be looking at the decisions going forward more in terms of the number of followers than whether someone is a political leader or not.
Well, Julia, the president, putative leader of a party that is 50% of the country, won't the GOP people just say this is an example of the kind of censorship that we've come to expect from the California? No.
Look, I think that Facebook was going to be criticized no matter what way this decision came, and I think I'm sure this is going to spark more concern. But from the GOP that Facebook has an anti-conservative bias. Having said that, I think it's sort of unfortunate in terms of resolving this issue that it's still not going to be resolved for another 6 months, not completely at least. So a lot of pressure on Facebook here to not only make rules, but explain them. I think there had been hope that the oversight board would resolve a lot of these issues, by now, Jim.